Hello?
Be present tonight, and then I think we can get started.
Okay.
I'll take, once he enters the meeting, I'll take roll call.
I'm on. I'll be on mute though. Okay.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Can you please say your name?
Yeah, this is Sean Hackala.
Hi, Sean. How are you?
Good, how are you? Do you want me to stay on mute, and do you also want me to start my video, or how do you want me to work this?
You can certainly start your video if you'd like, but please remain on mute until your item on the agenda comes up.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Do you need the video, or is it preference?
No, we don't need it. It's totally up to you.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, James.
Hi, James.
Hello.
All right, I think all of the members that are that will be present at tonight's meeting are attending. So I will go ahead and take roll call to confirm quorum. Daniel Spicer, Chair.
Here.
Mark Sprague.
Here.
Peter Driscoll.
Present.
Eric Nealon.
Here.
And James Barr.
Here.
Okay. We have a total of 5 members present. James will be acting as a board member tonight since Michael isn't available.
Okay.
All right. So, Eric, if you can scroll down on the agenda.
Can you see that?
Okay. Yes. In accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 11, notice is hereby given that the Bolton Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, August 12th, 2020 at 7 p.m. via Zoom video communications to hear and act upon the application of Deborah Plant at 93 West Berlin Road. The applicant is seeking a backland lot special permit pursuant to Section 250-13 of the Code of the Town of Bolton and the Residential Zoning District for property located at 93 West Berlin Road, identified on Assessor's Map 3B as Parcel 35.
So I believe Jack Maloney from Ducharme Mandillis is in attendance tonight to present that project.
Okay.
We were in front of the planning board a couple of years ago for this, which it got approved. Debbie Plant was not aware that she was supposed to have the special permit recorded. It never got recorded. The A&R plan got recorded I'm sorry. It was signed in by Pam back in February 6, 2018, and it was recorded just last fall in October. So the special permit, I believe, is about to run out this fall. So we're basically here to reapply for that special permit again, just in case, somebody decides that they want to buy this lot, and, we're kind of being ahead of the picture on this before it runs out.
So basically the special permit hasn't changed at all since it was originally submitted in 2018? Is that
Correct.
Okay, so it's just a resubmission because it was never recorded.
Correct.
Okay. Does anyone questions on the board?
Did we have any extra conditions or anything on this, Erica?
We did. I thought what I could do is pull up our decision from 2018 and we could walk through it.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the final decision that was approved. 2 years ago. So it was in January of 2018 that the hearing was held. And obviously I'll update based on the board's determination tonight, but I'll update the procedural history. Perhaps this is a sort of a good set of criteria to go through, just so that we make sure that we have it on record that it meets the zoning requirements for a backland lot. So the first one is a minimum street frontage on an accepted and or approved townway of 50 feet, which they do. The minimum allowable lot width between the dwelling site and the access to the public way is 25 feet, which is true. The minimum lot size shall be 4.5 acres, also true. Not more than one other backland lot with frontage contiguous to it will be allowed. A backland lot or lots as allowed under this subsection E shall be separated from another backland lot or lots by not less than 200 feet. And I believe that's still the case.
Correct.
No structure shall be erected within 50 feet of any lot line. So whoever purchases it and constructs a home, they need to be 50 feet from the property lines. Once a backland lot is created and approved by the planning board, it cannot be subsequently subdivided. So that'll be a condition. At least 1.5 acres of contiguous land, which is not in floodplain district or wetland, which I assume that's still the case.
Correct.
And so that's the criteria, and based on the plan, they meet those criteria. So for lot one, that's the existing house lot, that's a frontage lot, 1.86 acres, 250 feet of frontage. Lot 2, which is the lot that they're creating, is the backland lot and should have 4.92 acres and 50 feet minimum frontage.
Erica, if I can just stop you, lot 2 is the one with the existing house on it.
Oh, okay.
So the frontage lot is actually the new lot that's being carved out.
Okay, I'm glad we're going through this. Okay, so so lot 1 is the backland lot.
No,
Or do you want
lot
me to
2.
go back to the plan?
Yeah,
I can go back to the plan.
Lot 2 is the backland lot, but that's the one with the existing house on it.
Oh, okay, so this is correct. I said it incorrectly. Okay.
Correct. I just want
All
to
right,
make sure that the
gotcha.
board knew that. Yep.
Okay, so lot 2 is the existing house. And then the specific findings from the last time were the proposed activity may be carried out with without substantial detriment to the public good. The proposed activity may be carried out without nullifying or substantially derogating from the intention or the purpose of the code. Backland lot 2 has approximately 50 feet of frontage along West Berlin Road. The minimum lot width between the dwelling site and the access to the public way is the 25 feet. Backland lot 2 has the sufficient acreage. And basically we're restating all of the criteria under the findings. And then for the decision, these were the conditions that the board had set 2 years ago. So number 1, granting of the special permit does not constitute a waiver of any other applicable bylaw or statute. Number 2, no structure shall be erected within 50 feet of any lot line. Number 3, the backland lot subject to the special permit cannot subsequently be divided to less than 4.5 acres. 4, the backland lot subject to the special permit cannot be used to provide access to any other lots. And then number 5 was really the more specific condition to this particular project. Lots 1 and 2 shall be accessed by a shared driveway. And then number 6 is our standard condition for construction hours of operation. So I can go back to the plan now if you'd like. Let's see. Okay, so here's the frontage lot. Here's the backland lot with the existing house. And this must be the existing driveway to the back.
Yeah.
Back
Correct.
house here that will be used as a shared driveway for the front lot.
Correct.
I'm
Did
good. I
anyone
was gonna ask about
else-
the driveway, but that's, I'm good.
Anyone else on the board, any questions? Is there anyone in the audience that is here for this project?
Yep, this is Randy Dingeon. I was at the hearing a couple years ago, and I'm in a butter, so sounds all clear to me. So it's just a perfunctory meeting again because it wasn't recorded. I know the sticking point a couple years ago was a shared driveway. I just heard that, so I'm fine.
Okay, great, thank you. With that, anyone on the board want to entertain a motion to?
I'll move that we approve the subdivision to create the lot one on West Berlin Road.
Second?
Second?
Actually,
and then-
Danielle,
Oh,
do you
sorry.
mind if I interrupt for 1 minute?
Yeah.
We should probably close the hearing before the
Oh,
board
that's right, that's right.
moves
Close the
on.
hearing.
Decision.
Thank you, Mark. Is there a second to close the hearing?
I'll second you.
All
Okay,
in favor?
I
Okay.
roll call.
Aye.
Danielle Spicer,
Yes.
Peter Driscoll,
Aye.
Mark Sprague,
Yes.
Eric Nealon,
Yes.
and James Barr.
Aye.
Any opposed? I mean, that was unanimous, so I don't really need to go through any opposed, right?
Okay, now I'll move that we create the grant the special permit with the conditions that were in place on the 2018 version of the special permit to create lot one.
Second?
Second? Great, thank you. All those in favor? And then Erica, if you want to do a roll call?
Danielle Spicer,
Aye.
Peter Driscoll,
Aye.
Mark Sprague, Eric Nealon,
Yes.
and James Barr.
Aye.
So that was unanimous, so I won't do any opposed or abstentions.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Erica, one last thing. How soon before the turnaround for the paperwork?
So basically, I just need to update the decision. I'll have the chair of the board sign on behalf of the board, and then I just need to record it with the town clerk. I have 14 days to do that. Hopefully, I can get it done next week, but we'll see. I'll coordinate with Danielle on her schedule to get it signed, and I'll let you know. And then from there, as you know, there's a 20-day appeal period once I get it recorded.
That's fine. I just wanted to let my client know.
Sure.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Guys, have a good night.
You too.
As well.
So we're 5 minutes early. We need to wait on this, right, then? Do we want to just approve meeting minutes since we've got 5
Sure.
minutes?
Sure.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask if you need me to pull them up.
Yeah, if you want to pull up, so there's meeting minutes for July 8th and July 30th.
Will do.
I think you guys all got the electronic copy. Have you all had a chance to review them?
I did. I didn't notice anything that needed correction.
Okay. Anyone else need some time to review them, or are we okay to?
I think Pete's doing it now.
Yeah, I was just looking, not a big deal, but
Okay.
on the ones for the 8th, at the members present at the top, it doesn't have my name, but I'm pretty sure I was present. It says there roll call, not a big deal.
Oh, I will add it right now. I apologize for that.
Other than that, I was just looking through, no issue.
Okay, updated.
All right, is there a motion to approve meeting minutes from July 8th as amended and July 30th?
I will so move.
Second? All those in favor? Erica, you want to do a roll call?
Daniel Spicer,
Aye.
Peter Driscoll,
Hi.
Mark Sprague,
Yes.
Eric Nyland,
Yes.
and James Barr.
All right, pass unanimously. I won't ask for abstentions or nays. No, we still have 2 more minutes.
Went too quick. Eric, did CME get their top coat on?
Working on it. They've been patching the binder course, so they are moving. They are moving ahead, but not as far as I know. No top coat.
Okay.
Is the applicant here for 259 Green Road?
He is. So I think we could get started. I just gotta pull up.
Yeah, I'm here for 259.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so we'll start with 259 Green Road. The planning board is to deliberate on a proposed driveway application to allow for a second curb cut at the 259 Green Road parcel. So Erica, if you can show the plan. Great, and then is it Sean, if you want to go ahead and just give, an overview of why you're here and are seeking the second curb cut, that would be great.
Sure. So our existing driveway on 259, it's kind of on a slight blind curve on Green Road, and it's a little tricky getting in and out of. I have a teenage daughter, newly permitted for driving, and I'm about to have a son as well. So me and my wife were thinking about if we could get a second entrance a little bit further down. It might give us a little bit more visual in both ways, and also be a little bit safer for our kids learning, especially when they're, getting their getting their feet wet with the driving.
Now, just curious, would this driveway be paved or gravel, or just, are you not sure yet?
Yeah, it's so just asphalt driveway, just like it says on there, the material, gravel, hard pack, and then asphalt.
So I know typically in the past we try to limit the number of curb cuts kind of along each parcel, but I understand you're trying to do this for safety concerns. And Eric, I think that's part of the reason why you brought this this driveway permit in front of the board. What? Yeah, actually, some of the pictures might be helpful to show.
So this is the existing drive off of Green Road here. So I'm standing up at the intersection with Bear Hill. So here's the existing drive. Here's the intersection with Bear Hill Road. Here's that sort of blind turn he was referring to here. And then Sean, please correct me if I've marked these photos wrong in any way, but I believe these are the stakes that represent where the second curb cut would go, the second driveway.
Yeah, that's correct.
And then please also notice that there is an existing stone wall that falls along the property line that would require a scenic road hearing with the board at a future date if the board chooses to allow for the second curb cut.
Understand.
And this is just another sort of view of the stakes and the stone wall. And this is just a direct picture of it.
So you're going to lose all those trees then to be able to install that?
Just the small pines that were, I believe, planted when the house was originally built by landscaping. But I'm going to keep all the hard, mature oaks.
Okay.
So is the new driveway or the proposed entrance right across from what is Bear Hill?
It's a little bit, so at Bear Hill, it has that kind of two entrances to it. It's got that little triangle peninsula there. So it would be to the, I don't know how I would, if you're looking at 259, it would be more towards the right of the property, which would be the entrance closer towards like Neshoba School. Does that make sense?
I think I guess it doesn't line exactly. Is that it doesn't line exactly up in front of Bear Hill?
Correct. So the existing driveway is directly across from Bear Hill. So
oh, okay.
The new driveway would be a little bit, offset.
Okay.
Yeah, so in this picture here, you can kind of see what he's saying. Here's the existing driveway, here's the intersection, and you don't yet see the stakes. The stakes are further down.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
I also pulled up the driveway rules and regulations if the board, feels inclined to kind of run through that really quick as well. If there's any questions on the rules and regulations.
Is there anything in here that would prohibit it or that kind of, I guess, outlines anything specifically regarding two curb cuts?
No, there's nothing that specifically prohibits it.
Okay.
Here.
So, so I live on Green Road, way up further towards Neshoba. So I actually drive by often, and I will agree very much with Sean that it is kind of a tough area. I know exactly, where your house is. It's a very nice house, by the way. I see it all the time. But I do agree. I mean, all of Green Road. I mean, even I live on a common driveway, and Green Road is a tight, windy road that a lot of people cut through on to get around the 117 mess if they're going north, or I go around and come out over by the intersection with 117. Anyway, the question I want to ask is, so I definitely understand your point with the safety concern. Would you consider, if you're going to make a new curb cut for the driveway, would you consider getting rid of the existing, one as one thing we, as said, we do like to try to limit, curb cuts. And that's something that if we were to have a scenic road hearing, I'm sure that, there's a lot of people in town who tend to be sensitive to those kind of things. So would you maybe consider, okay, well, put the new driveway in and actually get rid of the existing curb cut as part of your new driveway?
Yeah, I talked to Erica briefly about this. So when I was looking at it, because I did see that you guys didn't want to curb cuts, I was like, how can I do this? And I mean, it can be done. I just feel like it would almost look less natural if I did it. I don't know if you can see it in the pictures. It's kind of like a little stone wall on the original one. I'd kind of, and I believe that stone wall was actually done when the house right there. Yeah. I believe that stone wall was put in when they put in that original driveway. So I'd almost have to tear that out and then put in fill in there and then, kind of make it natural with by tearing it all out, rather than, and if I look at it too, in the other sense, I look at it, if I'm doing this for safety, it's kind of nice to have, you know, two options, you know, for back, you know, if she can back out and then drive out either way, and then, or pull in either way, whichever way she's coming from on Green Road. But I mean, it can be done. It would cost quite a bit more, I believe, just with all the landscaping that you would have to do to make it look natural again. But I mean, anything can be done, I guess. I would rather keep it if I could. But you know.
Yeah, sure. Understand.
Well,
Thanks for your answer.
Yeah.
I don't have a I don't have a particular, you know,
Yeah.
major opposition. I just know the type of thing that
Yeah.
we try to look for when we're thinking about, you know, long-term planning for the town.
Yeah. Can you
Yeah,
see
and
in that picture right there, kind of how it would be?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I think that the tough part is this is a scenic road, so that's the concern with adding the second curb cut. You know, to your point of if you were to get rid of the existing one, you literally could just remove the pavement. And I don't know if you put, I mean, you don't have to. I mean, what I was thinking is where you're removing the stone wall for the new driveway, you could also put it back potentially across here, and you know, whatever ground cover you want, you could have. You know, I don't think we're trying to dictate what ground cover that needs to be. You could choose. It's more of just removing that curb cut into there, so there is only one access as an option.
Yeah, I mean, so if I'm looking at it and it's something that is, you know, really going to be, you know, cause a lot of issues getting that second curb cut. If I'm only going to keep one curb cut, is there any way that I can maybe widen the existing one? If I cut down those mature trees there, I could kind of widen the mouth of the driveway over, and that would give you a greater vantage.
Yeah, so you're talking about right where the stone wall is, basically. You're saying basically kind of remove maybe one of those tall trees.
I would have
to
move quite a few of those mature trees to get a good vantage point going the other way. And it might kind of look awkward if I did that too. So I don't know if you're trying to keep the natural look of kind of that road. I personally think that if I have the second curb cut, take those stones out and naturally kind of dye them, curve them in and dye them into the ground, like on the, I don't know if you have a picture of the other side of the stone wall. Erica, do you have a picture of the other side of the stone wall or no?
Which stone wall?
I think you do further down.
Yeah.
The stone wall with the.
Yeah, well, see how that's so that would be the new entrance. So right where the circle is next to that, where the oak is right there, that stone wall just dies into the ground and it kind of doesn't really exist. It's kind of flat on the ground there. So really all I was going to do is just take that and move those existing stone walls and build it up kind of on the other side and then dye it into where the new driveway is going to come into the ground. I don't know if that makes sense, but it would I feel like that would look more natural and kind of the existing look that it has now than widening the other mouth. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys though.
I think so. I'm just trying to picture of maybe widening might be better because then we're still limiting it to one curb cut. I don't know, but I know you're taking down some mature trees to be able to do that.
I mean, the reality, I mean, looking at the pictures here, it looks like it's actually going on down the road is where the real safety issue is with the trees kind of crowding the road that direction and blocking the sight lines.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to help the other direction, but like you said, towards the mailbox direction, I can't touch those trees because that's my neighbor's yard anyways.
Yeah,
so you're really get any help there.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be Nothing to add. I mean, I was going to ask the same question that Peter did about just moving the driveway, completely over there, and even if you took the rocks are in the existing stone wall and moved those to kind of, created a new stone wall where where your existing curb cut is.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
And just put a little fill around it, and I mean, you don't need to rip out the retaining wall that's there or anything. Because after your kids move,
yeah, just leave it.
Well, you really want to move it back now to where it originally was, and
I guess, yeah, and I think Mark, to play with that, I mean, I'm kind of okay with either, if you felt it was more beneficial for you to widen it. I know that you'd have to come in front of us for the scenic road hearing now for the removal of the trees, or if you wanted to relocate it to where it was showed on your plan, but cut that one off. I mean, either option, if you want to, for me, I would say, I wouldn't, whichever one is more beneficial for you to do, I would be okay with. I'm just a little hesitant with the adding the two, having it be two curb cuts along the scenic road at the end of the day.
So just for, if you can move up to that other picture, and I don't know if this makes a difference. So right there, so right where my mailbox is, the house directly across the street there has two curb cuts. Exactly kind of like what I'm looking to do. So I don't know if that makes any difference.
I mean, I don't know what the circumstances of putting the both cuts in or anything else. So, it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to say if we're trying to kind of keep the look of it, like if that's the major sticking point, it does have that exact same thing right there. But I personally, I would love to have both of them. I think it just makes more sense, and I think it would look a lot nicer. But obviously, it's not up to me. So.
Danielle, I guess the one thing that I would make comment on, the one thing that is a positive for the second curb cut over widening the existing would be the fact that he wouldn't have to remove any trees from the right of way. So with the second curb cut, he would only be relocating the stone wall, whereas if he was widening here, he could be taking down some pretty substantial mature trees. So I guess that would be one benefit of the second curb cut in terms of the scenic road hearing.
Well, and I guess I would rephrase this like the second curb cut or moving to the new proposed location. Whether it's one curb cut or two, using the new location instead of widening the existing one.
Yeah, I mean, that can be done. I believe the cost is going to be substantially more if I do that, but it can be done.
Well, I guess, to try to limit your costs, if you were to relocate the stone wall that you'd be taking away from this curb cut over to where the existing one is, and literally just remove the pavement from where that wall is to the edge of the driveway, I mean, you could leave the whole rest of that all paved. You could pave this parking or
there's different levels. It's different levels of grade. So where the existing stone wall is there, that runs into that little retaining stone wall there. So then it's like a 4-foot drop to the other level. So I would have to tear that out, fill it in, and then because there's no stone wall right there on the see where those big mature pines are, that stone wall that's there's no stone wall on top of that ground. Do you see what I'm saying? So the stone wall that you see in the other pictures dies before it gets to those trees. So to make it look natural, you'd have to tear that out, I think, and then fill that all in with, dye the higher grade over into the lower grade, tear up all that driveway, and then dye it in, and then kind of make it blend in natural. to make it look decent anyways. Does that make sense?
I think I see what you're trying to do. I think there's a probably I don't know if you need to go to that level to get rid of that, but I mean, I think I understand what you're trying to say.
Well, I'm just looking at it, you know, I'm gonna be living here. It's my home, and yeah, I know I could probably just put a stone wall, tear it up, and put a stone wall in front of it, but I don't think, personally, for me, I don't think it would look very good. That's all. It's just a personal preference, I guess.
I think I do understand what you're saying, Sean, because, you know, at the end of the day, if you eliminated this driveway entrance, this curb cut, it's still going to kind of look like a driveway entrance anyway, because this has all been cleared. You know what I mean? Like you're going to still be able to see into the property when you're driving down the scenic road, whether there's a stone wall there or not. That's just a comment. So.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it can be done, but to make it look natural, like that driveway didn't ever exist, would be pretty significant. You'd have to blend it in, tear it all up, and then you'd have to do some major landscaping in there so it doesn't, like you said, doesn't look like just an old cut-in driveway.
I don't know, how are people feeling about the 2 curb cuts?
I don't mind the 2 curb cut. I think, I mean, if the neighbor has it, I don't think it looks that bad at all. And just for safety reasons, I mean, I'm on Sugar Road, and it's a narrow, windy road, and I have these, you know, the big trees that take out if you're in my driveway looking towards the left, it's tough. And I understand where Sean's coming from, so I'm not opposed to having a second curb cut.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to it personally, really, at all. I completely understand the safety thing, you know, and I don't think having another curb cut the way you've laid it out with leaving all the trees is really going to detract from the scenic road at all. Just thinking about, you know, overall for the town, you know, when we have folks come to talk about doing, you know, subdivisions or, you know, A&R plans for making, you know, dividing lot lines, you know, we always talk about driveways, and, you know, if someone's creating has a large plot of land, it's creating a backland lot or multiple, and it's going to be a shared, or, you know, we always talk to them about, you know, trying to plan long-term, whether they're building or not, you know, for a shared or a common driveway, to limit the number of new curb cuts. So, you know, it's a little tough in what we try to do to say, okay, well, you have one, and now you want another one, when we're always trying to limit people who have different lots. So that's the only kind of concern that I have. Nothing, you know, but no, I wouldn't be against this, you know, personally in any way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not wild about the idea. I think I'm not sure it's very good precedence. And I mean, I think the safety, I mean, if it was a safety issue, I'd say, you know, the new location would be, you know, is safer. And, you know, I'm not, I mean, you know, having multiple curb cuts can lead to more safety issues than it can solve too. If you've got multiple people pulling out of that lot at the same time and things like that. So I'm not convinced that having 2 curb cuts is that great.
Can I ask, actually, that brings a good question. How far is it from where the new proposed curb cut would be to where the next driveway is going, like to the, I guess towards
66 feet.
No, I know, I see it's, I mean, I guess where the new curb cut is going to be to where the next driveway is in the adjacent lot.
The neighbors.
Yeah, well, you see, you got the 15 feet to my lot line, and then their driveway is, I didn't measure it, but I would assume it's another 100 or so feet, because this is all wooded. on the front. Their driveway's kind of to the right of their lot.
Yeah.
It's
and
towards
this-
the right. Okay, all right, so it's not immediately.
What's across the street though? Where the, where everything from, where Bear Hill comes in and other driveways and such line up with all of these either. So we don't really have the full picture on it, from that perspective.
Say that again. I didn't hear that.
Well, I mean, this shows, what's on your side of the street. It's not giving any information on, what's across the street, where there are driveways and roads and all of that, I mean, Bear Hill is already kind of a wonky intersection anyway. Now we're just adding more points of access, into that area.
Yeah. So across the street, there's no house there. It's basically a wooded vacant lot, I guess. And then you just have the Bear Hill access directly across from the existing driveway.
Yeah, I think on the other side, it's basically all that conservation land that goes pretty far down. If I remember correctly, I'll have to look again.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the Vaughn Hill Trails.
Right.
Yeah, but the lot directly across the street, I don't know if that's deeded into the conservation or not, or if it was an existing house that just burned down many years ago or fell apart or whatever. But it's there's no house there anymore. It's kind of overgrown, just kind of tree lot.
Actually, Eric, is it possible for me to share my screen? I have Google Earth up here, so I can show that.
All right, go ahead. Yep.
Okay, let me try now. Let me know once people can actually see my screen.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So correct me if I'm wrong. Sean, this is your mailbox right here. This is your driveway.
Yep.
So this is kind of showing the existing curb cut right here. You can see that there's no stone wall right here is what you were talking about.
And
then this is
over there, and on the other side, there's no stone wall yet. So that's a little retaining wall that was built when the existing driveway was put in. But where your cursor,
okay, yeah,
at the light post, there's no stone wall there for about, I want to say, I don't know, 15, 20 feet guesstimate. And then the stone wall kind of comes out of the ground and then goes across all the way to the end.
And look
okay.
at some stones there, right, along the ground level, right along the edge of the screen.
Excuse me?
Looks like looks like there may be some stones right along the edge on the lot side of the light post there. Kind of back.
I think it goes just right around the, yeah, it looks like it kind of goes right around.
Yeah, so that's was the little retaining wall that they built to get that, because of the different elevation there, to get that driveway in, the existing driveway in. If you go down the road a little bit and then go look towards my house, you can see the.
I'm going to try to. Sorry, my Google Earth just froze.
That's all right.
Of course. So let me see if I can get this just to go again. Let me try this one more time. Sorry.
I just also want to remind the board that we're running a little late. It's 7:45.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. It froze, so I won't continue to share. So I think we, I guess, need to make a decision on if we're okay to approve the curb cut or not.
Danielle, do you mind if I offer up one more comment that might be helpful?
Yeah.
One thing that, if the board is sort of undecided tonight on what to do, and if Sean were amenable to this, we could move forward with the scenic road hearing, because technically we can't sign off on the driveway application until that's completed anyway. So if Sean were amenable to moving forward with that process, we could see if, once we notify the abutters, we advertise the hearing, if we have, you know, residents in town coming out and have comments about
That-
it. We kind of go
That
from
actually
there.
it might be helpful, because if there's abutters that are completely fine with this, that's good to know. If there was anyone that would have some serious issues with it, that might be good to know as well. Sean, would you be amenable to that? So would we, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
So do we just table for now? I mean, it's not an open hearing, but how does that work?
Yeah, we would
Continue.
just table it. But Sean, what I would need to know though is that your application still is for the second curb cut and not widening the existing driveway, because those are two different scenic road hearing issues.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would prefer the second curb cut. I just think it makes more sense. And you know, if I had to, then you know, like I can't remember who said it earlier. If I don't add the second one, then it doesn't really do me any good on looking the other way. So you kind of increase your look one way, but not the other way. And so, yeah, if I'm going to go forward with that, I would prefer to have the two entrances.
Okay, so that's the way that I will move forward. And Sean, I'll be in contact with what needs to be submitted for the scenic road hearing. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night.
Well,
You too. Okay, we are at 339 Long Hill Road, common driveway. The applicant is seeking a bond release inclusive of the common driveway project. I believe the bond release was approved by Fred Hamway, but is there anyone to kind of, oh, actually, I think Fred may be on, but is the applicant here to discuss this, or?
Yeah, I think I saw Jonathan on.
Yeah, I'm looking at you guys.
Okay.
Am I available to you? Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you. We can definitely hear you. Yes.
Okay. So I think well, this is the last chapter in our common driveway work at 339 Long Hill. And I believe we have a full sign off from our consulting engineer, from Fred, to state that we're complete and that the board, if they so wish, is free to release the remaining amount of the bond. So
Yes, and I think I
there's
saw
not a whole lot to
Fred.
discuss, except I think we've kind of crossed our T's and dotted I's and other things.
And
Does
Eric,
that sound about right, Erica?
Yeah, I'm completely in agreement. I wanted to bring up the as-built so that the board could see that we did receive the final as-built, which Fred Hamway signed off on. It's stamped, ready to be put in the file. So
The outstanding amount, it's minor, but it'll be nice to close the books for these long-suffering clients. I think it's 11,000, Erica, 11,000 and change.
yep, 11,400. I actually, John, I went up to take some pictures of the driveway today. Does the board want to see the pictures, or do they feel comfortable? Just it's up to the board.
I'm okay seeing the as-built and the fact that Fred Hamway signed off on it, and he's reviewed everything, and he's okay with releasing the bond. Did others have questions?
No, I don't.
No concerns, no.
All right. I'll entertain a motion for someone to approve the bond release.
Okay, I'll move that we approve the bond release for, what is this, 339 Long Hill?
Yes.
Yep.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Eric, you want to do a roll call?
Danielle Spicer,
Aye.
Mark Sprague,
Yes.
Peter Driscoll,
Aye.
Eric Nyland,
Yes.
and James Barr.
Aye.
All right, that was unanimous, so there's no abstention nor nays.
Okay, so I'm going to consider this project closed out, okay?
Great. And I just did, I had one brief comment in closing. The process is a little arduous and sometimes hard to understand for the clients, but working with the board has not been one of the hard parts of the project. It's like to
Oh,
pass
great.
that on. It has been a while. We have
Great.
some members here who didn't start out with us, but I'm happy to have you on board for the conclusion. So
Great.
thank you very much. And I'll pass the gratitude of the owners on to you folks as well. They'll be happy to put this behind them.
Great.
Great, have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just need you to bring up the agenda again, sorry, Eric. Oh, there.
I apologize. Nope, that's not it. That was in case the board wanted to see the bond for the last one. Okay. Oh, I somehow closed. Hold on 1 minute. Oh, here it is. Okay.
Okay, so we're going to open up for Walter Erickson, 147 Long Hill Road, Common Driveway. The applicant is seeking a bond release and closeout of the Common Driveway project.
And as usual, put me in the penalty box, Erica. So,
Okay. Mark needs to recuse himself as an abutter, so I'm going to go ahead and put him in the waiting room. All right, he is in the waiting room.
Okay,
So I believe Kevin Erickson is attending the meeting tonight.
okay. Kevin, I don't know if you're on mute, but we cannot hear you.
I will see if I can unmute him.
Hello?
Hi, yes, I think we can hear you now.
Can you hear me now? I apologize. For the record, Attorney Kevin Erickson, on behalf of Built Best Construction LLC, we're looking for a full release of the bond and close out of the project at 147 Long Hill Road. Just a quick update. The special permit modification has been recorded with the Registry of Deeds. We did receive a final email from Mr. Hamway indicating that the final as-built was acceptable. He also indicated that some loom and seed were required around the turnout based on an inspection he had done in June. We have loomed and seeded that area, and we've removed several asphalt pieces per an email from Erica earlier in July, I believe. So at this point, we believe that the release is proper and we're looking to close this out.
All right, and Eric, I think we have a report from Fred Hanway noting that he's okay with the as-built and the changes that were just discussed. Is that correct?
That is correct. So I have an email from Fred from the end of July saying that the as-built plan's acceptable. And then he just basically leaves it to the board to determine that, like Kevin was saying, that the loam and seed is acceptable at the turnout and that the asphalt pieces were removed. Kevin did send a picture of both of those items showing the seed that they had laid down along that turnout. And then he had also sent a picture showing the pieces that they had collected and brought off site for the asphalt pieces.
Okay.
So currently we're holding $29,062.50 per bond.
All right, are there any questions or comments from the board?
No.
Are there any questions or comments from the any abutters in the audience?
Hi, yeah, this is Lauren Silly from 147. like I think I've said before, we are more than ready to be done with this. But the one concern I still have about the turnout, well, two concerns. I can share a picture if you'd like. I don't know what pictures you've seen, but the loam that was added is still a few inches below where the curbing comes up to, so it's not even with how the fill is behind the rest of the curb. And my only other concern is that this is the paving that was done in below freezing temperatures back in, I don't remember what month that was, but I know it was below freezing temperature. So I just am not convinced that it will hold, and I really don't want to spend my own money to fix it. So I would still say we unfortunately would need to wait to see how that does, and for some more fill and then seed to be added. If you want to see a picture, I can share my screen.
Sure. I think just with regard to the turnout, I understand your concerns in that it was not installed in ideal conditions, but it has gone through a winter, and that's typically what we kind of require other projects in towns, just to see if there's any concern with, I mean, we can kind of only hold the applicant for so long on some of this stuff. So the fact that it's made it through a winter, I would be more than, and it's doing okay at this point. Most likely it's from this point on, I would say I don't think that there's too much more we could probably push on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I could find the exact date it was done, I'm sure. If it was done in freezing temperatures, I think that must have been during the winter. So to me, then it hasn't gone through a whole winter. But
It was done in November,
Okay, so
the early part of November, because we had a hearing on November 11th. It had been completed for about a week.
Danielle, I can share a picture that Kevin had sent me of the loam and seed that they had installed.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
We wouldn't normally push loom right up to the edge of the asphalt berm. I think there's 6 inches of loom there.
Well, that's a very convenient picture that actually doesn't show the difference. So Eric, I sent you a picture if you want to show that one, or I can show it too.
When did you send it? Because there's, yeah, let me just stop sharing this for a sec. Lauren, when did you send it? Because I know they did that work just recently.
Yeah, I can pull up a picture. I will try to figure out what date I sent that. I have.
Kevin sent that picture to me on August 6th, so last Thursday.
Okay, yeah, so but the work was done sometime before that. Let me try to find.
Yep, Madam Chair, just for a point of order, what exactly, as far as standards go, would Ms. Seeley be referring to when she's talking about an adequate amount of loom behind the asphalt berm, before we kind of go down a needless rabbit hole?
I sent it on August 6th, and an adequate amount to me would be up to the top of the curb, just like the other parts of the driveway.
Okay, but an adequate amount to Ms. Seeley is not the standard under the tri-party agreement. So I'd ask the board that we kind of move this for a vote. And at this point, I'm just asking for a full release.
So I think, the fact that it's not noted as kind of a discrepancy from Fred, I'm more leaning to move forward with this, but did others have concerns? I know that you did, I think you would noted that you would actually, or maybe I'm thinking of the other areas that you had seeded a couple times, but I guess I think the main concern here is obviously it needs to be loamed and seeded up to the area, but it needs to be, we need grass to be able to grow so that it's not going to erode and stuff like that. It may need some time. I mean, if this was just done the end of July, beginning of August, you're in hot temperatures, so it's a little bit harder for grass to grow quite yet.
Yeah, and we did cover it with hay.
Okay.
So
All right,
Erica,
so if we
can you show the picture from August 6th, or I can share my screen?
I prefer to share all documents during the public meeting, so I need to find your email.
Okay, it's from August 6th.
So while Erica's looking for that, I guess, do others have any comments?
The only thing I'd make a comment on is I didn't receive the email from Miss Seeley to Erica. And so I'm not going to have the ability to see it. I'm on the cell phone.
Okay. I mean, I think at this point, you know, I understand there's things that were not done necessarily to the level that were desired. But with these two outstanding items, I think knowing that the turnout was installed in November, it's gone through winter, I think that's the most that we can hold, you know, to be consistent with other applicants that we've had in town for holding with regard to pavement condition. And I understand that the loam and seed is not necessarily up to the exact height, but if it's 6 inches, that tells me you're going to potentially have grass that will grow there once it's able to be established. So I would think that the intent is being met, and the fact that Fred has basically signed off on the bond release, I'm willing to entertain releasing that unless others have other additional comments or questions.
I agree, Danielle. I'm happy to look at the picture, but I think we need to, you know, put this one to bed and move on.
All right, Danielle, can I speak? This is Fred.
Yes. Yes. Hi, Fred.
Eric, could you bring up the email I sent you, please?
Can the board see the picture that Lauren
Yes,
sent?
I can see that.
Okay, I apologize. I wasn't able to save it as a picture on my laptop, so I had to pull up the full email.
So that's what it currently looks like. None of the hay's been removed. I mean, obviously no grass is going to grow. It was planted in August. I've given up on their ability to plant grass that grows, so I'm not complaining about that. That's not going to happen, but I don't think that looks like how we should be left with the turnout. That's not, I don't think we should go out and clean it up and add the dirt. I mean, it's just, and I would just point out, as you know, you said typical applicants go through a winter. I would just say, I don't think this is a typical applicant. I think we have gone through all these things multiple times, almost everything they've done. So that would be my only comment about that.
Okay. Fred, did you want to add something?
If Erica could bring up my email that she just showed a few minutes ago.
I think she's looking for it.
I'm sorry, Erica, which email is that?
This is the email that I had sent you with sort of, well, I'll bring it up and we can read it. I don't remember now if I forwarded it to you, but it's basically Fred signing off on the as-built.
I think I have that one. It's from July 30th.
I believe so.
And I agree with Danielle as well. If Fred has signed off on it, I'm okay with that. I think we should just put this to bed.
Yeah, Fred, was there something specific you wanted to point out with your email?
Yes, it was. So in my email, I'm just going by memory. At the time, I had gone out there before, probably in June sometime. I saw what Lauren was talking about. The request for closeout and so forth came after that. At that time, I looked at the as-built and that was okay. I let Erica know that there was still two outstanding, so to speak, issues. One was the loam around the turnout there, not up to the top of the curb, and some asphalt pieces. She was going to look at that, right, Erica? go out there and look at the loam? And
I
so
did, and then. Mhm.
So my email stated, as-built was okay. Erica was going to determine about the loam, and Walter was going to give evidence, which I believe he gave to Erica, that he removed the asphalt pieces. So there were two, my approval still had two issues that I was not following up.
Okay. So Erica, I think, did we receive confirmation that the asphalt pieces were removed?
I received a photo from Kevin showing all of the asphalt pieces put into the back of a truck.
Okay. And then with the loam, you said you were able to go out there?
So I can share the photos that I had taken. I'm happy to do that. For some reason, I'm sorry, Fred. I had that email up and now I can't find it easily.
Okay, that's what it said. So
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt again. I'm just trying to figure out what standard we're talking about when we're saying it needs to be up to the edge of the berm.
I'll answer then, Kevin. The 6 inches of loam minimum, or whatever the amount was, but you take the 6 inches of loam from the surface and go down 6 inches, and whatever you need to bring up to within 6 inches is common fill material, and then 6 inches of loam. Not whatever was there, just throw 6 inches of loam on top of it, and whatever elevation it comes to, that's what it comes to.
So, but you inspected the turnout before it was installed, so you saw the subgrade, and then at this point now, there's ample loam there for grass to grow. I honestly, I don't know what we're doing anymore. I really don't.
All pavement, all berm has to be backed, and all pavement has to be backed up to its top.
Here's
surface.
what I would suggest. You're holding $29,000, and we're talking about loam around a turnout. If the board's comfortable releasing the full bond, then I would like to move that point. If not, then I think we need to discuss what amount we're going to hold, because I'm not prepared to offer any more loam out there. It's not necessary. There's plenty of loam out there. The grass will grow if it's maintained, and we've gone down this road before about the grass. Our only requirement under the special permit is to seed and loam.
It's not a matter of is there enough loam for vegetation to grow. It's a matter of loam, or the finished surface of material should come up to the top of any pavement surface, whether it be the back of the berm or the actual driveways or roadways.
So I guess I haven't seen any evidence that we haven't complied with the requirements of the special permit. I honestly, I don't agree with Fred that that's the appropriate standard. I see asphalt berm all the time where the loom is not flush to the top of the berm. It's certainly not a condition of the permit. It's not a condition of the tri-party agreement. This is a binding contract. At this point, we really need to move this process forward.
Danielle, these are the pictures that I had taken.
I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage because I should have been forwarded the email from Ms. Seeley with the photos from August 6th.
I'm sorry, Erica, what was that?
I was just going to say that I'm sharing right now the pictures I had taken from July of the turnout that they had extended and fixed. And this also shows different viewpoints of the loamed area.
And Fred, roughly how, I mean,
actually, those are the ones that Kevin had taken.
Excuse me,
I mean, it's a little hard to tell from the pictures, but how far down is the ground, the loam from the top of the berm?
I don't recall, 3 or 4 inches.
Oh, okay.
And just to do another thing, Danielle, what Kevin had said about a standard. So the plans, the details of the driveway show curbing, okay? The loam is level with the top of the curb. The detail of the actual berm shows the same thing with the loam level with the top of the berm. This is on the plans that are part of the special permit.
So I guess the question in front of the board is, are we okay with releasing the full bond, or do we want to hold some back for some additional loan to potentially be placed behind
Excuse me,
the
Danielle?
curb to bring it up? Sorry, go ahead, Fred.
Every other place on the project, the loam is at the top of the curb.
At the curb, yeah.
And now talking about, let's just say.
I don't actually know that to be true, Fred, but I mean, you haven't been out there to inspect since it was loomed and seeded, right? So when you're guessing 3 to 4 inches, that's just a guess based on photos that you've seen from Miss Seeley?
I would have to look back. I went out in June. I'm not sure when you did put in the.
So
loam.
we we just took these pictures in August. I think we had given money for a final site visit within the last. I thought it was going to be done in the last few weeks. I'm surprised this is just coming up now, I guess, is the point.
Okay, the other thing is as far as the bond, and Kevin said releasing X amount and having money left over for this portion, if that's what he's saying. It's a small amount of money. I don't even know what it is. Let's say it was $500 or $400 or $300. It probably won't get done if just that's left for the bond. It's not going to be worth it, I would say, for them to come back and do that.
Well, I don't know what the insinuation there is, but the tri-party agreement doesn't allow the board to hold $29,000 as an incentive.
Danielle, I guess.
So, yeah.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say at this point, I think this driveway has been completed in substantial conformance with the as-built or with the approved plan. We've gone through the amended permitting process for the special permit for the design deviations. At this point, it feels a little bit like we're splitting hairs.
Yeah.
That's just a comment.
So, I mean, I've already stated within my reference that I think that the intent has been met for at least for the bond release. I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
Yeah, I agree, Danielle. I'm fine with it.
All right, so would entertain a motion to release the bond amount?
I don't have the number in front of me.
Erica, do you have the number if you can put up on the screen?
Is it 29,530 or 29,730?
I don't have it.
Okay, I have it right here. It's $29,062.50.
Yeah, it's right in the middle of the screen.
Okay, I'll make a motion to release the $29,062.50 remaining on the bond for 147 Long Road.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll take a roll call for all those in favor.
Danielle Spicer,
Aye.
Peter Driscoll,
Aye.
James Barr,
Aye.
Eric Nyland.
Aye.
All right, since that was unanimous, I won't ask for any nays or abstentions, so it has been passed.
Okay, I will now consider this common driveway closed.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you. All right. Oh, sorry. Didn't realize it was already up there. All right. We're going to see if Bob Pace is here for Keys Farm subdivision. The applicant is to provide an update on construction, including a summary of the erosion control issues and measures implemented to stabilize the site. The applicant is to discuss timeline for possible road acceptance, and the applicant also seeks a bond reduction for work completed and approved to date. All right. Do we have?
We can get Mark
Yeah, I
back.
was going
to
to say,
this,
is
right?
Mark here?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we need Mark to come.
Yeah, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, can you see me? Because I can't see it. I don't understand these
We
things.
cannot see you, but we can hear you.
All right.
Or at least I can't see you.
Okay. Well, I'm not that smart to be seen, I guess.
Oh, now we can see you.
You can. Well, I can't.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Sorry about that.
I was thinking the
All right,
same
we
thing.
got Mark back too.
Yeah, I'll remember that, Pat. Yeah. Okay.
All right, so if you want to go ahead. Erica, do you have the plan? Is there a plan to bring up, or just you want to jump right into the erosion control issues?
Sure, we can go right into the most recent site inspection from Niche Engineering. I can pull that up. I apologize. Bob, did you want to give the board a quick update while I'm trying to find the most recent? I'm just looking in my email to see if Niche had said something more recent to the name.
We had a walkthrough either Thursday or Friday of the week before last. We developed a little punch list. Okay. Most of the stuff was done by Friday when they went out there. We've continually hydroseeded. There's no evidence of erosion now. You know, I'll grant you it hasn't been raining. Okay, and if you recall, on Thursday, or I'm sorry, Tuesday, we had, you know, a big windstorm and everything else, and okay, a lot of the stuff that could have get done Tuesday and Wednesday didn't get done, but I would say it was 90% done by Friday. I talked to Niche's employee that was doing the site walk around noontime Friday. I did ask him to come back on Monday. I don't know that he did that or he didn't. Okay, but all the rest of the stuff was done and is done now. The only thing that was on the list that didn't get done until Tuesday, I think Jamie's on the phone too, was the cleaning of the catch basins, which got done, I believe it was yesterday. So to my mind,
was it cleaning of the catch basins? Is that what
yes,
you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we used the vacuum truck to clean all the catch basins.
Okay.
So to my mind, the grass is growing. I did walk the whole site with Niche on Friday. He concurred that. And, you know, okay, so the only other thing we did on Monday, we rehydroseeded the whole place again and watered it yesterday. So, you know, it's difficult to grow grass, but it certainly is, it is coming up.
And where did you rehydroseed on Monday?
The entire place. Okay. I mean.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
When we initially hydroseeded, we had a huge flash flood storm later on that afternoon. So
Oh.
some of it washed away to kind of broke my heart. So then we just had to clean some of the erosion areas up and re-hydroseed it. Because the hydroseed the first time didn't have enough time to dry. So it washed away because it was still wet. It didn't tackify, didn't dry up. So that's what the whole problem was.
So this is not the second batch of hydroseed. You actually went back. They did it, went back right after the flash, the flash flood again, and then redid it again. So
correct.
I think we've went over and above, to attempt to get grass growing. I also think that we're coming into the cooler season now, and this should come up fine.
I think we've got probably a couple more weeks till we get to the cooler season, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
So, Erica, do we have kind of something from either Niche or kind of confirming that these outstanding items have been addressed?
We do. Stephen Francesca from Niche Engineering actually just sent me an updated site report, which I believe they sent me before, but for whatever reason, it's not coming up. Okay, hold on 1 minute.
If he I think he's on, so maybe he can speak.
Hi, this is Steve Ventresca with Niche Engineering. Also on the phone is Gavin Graham, who did the site observations. And what I will say is that I met on the site, and we met on the site a couple of times, and Gavin was there, I think the second time, and then Gavin did most of these site visits subsequently. But it was that second meeting that we had, and Bob was there, and Jamie was there, and Erica and Rebecca from Conservation, that we generated the list. It's close to the end of the document that's on here. And this was the we'll call it the punch list of items that needed to take place. And we just discussed a time frame when it could be completed, and Friday, August 7th was the date that we were told that these items could be done. And so between the meeting at the end of July until August 7th, Gavin went out a number of times just to see the progression of this list. And as you know, the site, it's a difficult site. It's the side of a hill, basically. There's tight soils there. And when you have conditions such as these, where you have a lot of areas that are not stabilized with vegetation, the potential for washout and for sedimentation into the basins and catch basins is much greater. And so that's the situation where we started when we first started going out to the site in July. So we had requested of Rhino Construction to, add additional wattles along the edges of pavement, add additional wattles, within the detention basins at the bottom and at the top, and sort of try to attenuate and slow down the stormwater as it comes racing down the hills from all these lots that have been constructed and are in various states of construction still, with some areas having, full lawns and others have sparse lawns. So we recommended some initial or additional erosion controls for the entire site. And then, as I said, we met at the end of July and generated this list here. So, some of the items are completed, and I can ask Gavin to provide some additional information since he was out there more recently. But there was a couple of, so as you can see, there's still some items that haven't been done. Cleaning out additional sedimentation within the detention basins, removing wattles, and cleaning out some sediment within the outlet control structure at one of the basins at the lower basin. So it's items that are sort of ongoing, and some of the areas adjacent to catch basins we had talked about. They didn't do the concrete completely up to the catch basin frame. And so we'd ask that those be reestablished, for instance, right there, because that is contributing to erosion.
You can't get in there.
Yeah, you can't get in there. So it's you have things that are partially online, and you have a lot of runoff coming from the lots getting onto the street, causing erosion, sedimentation. And so I know it's difficult, one, because of the site, two, because, we're getting towards the end here and everyone wants to be done and kind of move on. So how do we, so we'd ask for just a sort of another sort of effort by the contractor and by the applicant to provide additional erosion control. And I know one of the items that they, for the contractor, is easy to do, is lay down the hydro seed with the tackifier, which is great. But the problem is that we've been getting these storms that's, as Bob mentioned, the hydro seed gets washed out, and you get some sedimentation, and then you're back at it again. You're starting from zero. So we'd ask for additional wattles along edges of pavement, edges of the driveway. And I think everyone acknowledges the difficulty of establishing erosion control and establishing vegetation in lots that are now occupied, and also in areas where, you have very long driveways on steep slopes that cause that velocity of stormwater coming down the driveways, which again, just contributes to the problem. So again, we generated this list. Rebecca was there, Erica was there, and Bob and Jamie from Rhino, and we all agreed these were the items that needed to be completed. So, so that's it. So I guess the discussion now is, we have items that we say are not completed, and if that's the case, what's the process of completing them? If there are items that are completed, maybe I'll ask Gavin to just weigh in briefly. Just to see what he saw, and but we can go from there. So,
can I ask a question? When was the last time that Gavin was out there?
I think Gavin was out there on Friday.
Gavin here. I dropped by earlier today for a little bit.
Oh, good. Okay.
So Gavin, can you give kind of an update on these items that are marked no? It looks like this report was dated last Friday. Has any of these changed to kind of yes as of today?
From my observations, no, this is pretty current.
It's still basically as it stands?
Yep.
So let me just ask you a question, Gavin. The catch basins were cleaned. So how can that be no? The wattle was removed. So how can that be no? I'm not bothering with you. Okay, but those are done.
So no, if I may, so I guess, Bob, if you are saying that some items are done, then I think maybe it's worth a walk with Gavin and Erica and Rebecca, and just to point it out and say, look, these are done. I understand the catch basins are done. Yeah. We had asked for, proof of cleaning, so I'm sure those will be coming, within this week. But items that, like removing a wattle, things that maybe were hidden by grass or vegetation, that would be helpful if you could point it out. I will say some of the pictures I saw, continues to show sedimentation within the basins. We had talked about cleaning those out. I did see some additional wattles, but not, it's in areas, but maybe not key areas or not as extensive as we had discussed.
But there's no more washout. But there's no more washout, Steve.
Which is great, and we really haven't had a big storm since last Tuesday. So, right. So,
right.
This is the discussion that we keep having: is how do we lock things down for you guys so that you can continue to construct and build out, so that you can leave and not have to chase the erosion. So it's great that you did these.
The grass is growing. The grass is growing.
Which right, absolutely.
Okay, and I think you'd agree. Okay, is growing well. That's because we keep watering.
Exactly, because you water it every day, which is very helpful. And so, ideally, we're talking September 15th to October 15th, plus or minus, is when really you should be applying this, and you don't have to babysit it as much because it's not as hot.
Well, I understand, but at the same time, everybody's asking, "Can we get this done?" So I'm damned if I do, and damned if I don't.
Yeah, but I think it's also if you can do, right, I get it. So if you can do things that are stabilizing the site so that and I understand damned if you do, damned if you don't, but I think we asked Erica to send an email out to the neighborhood people in the development to say, hey, erosion control is going up. You need to understand this is going to be this way through the spring of 2021 because we need to stabilize the site. So, we're trying to get the neighbors on board because I know there's been some back and forth between you and the neighbors. And so it's just one of those things where everyone needs to get and work together so that this doesn't continue to happen.
But then we also have the issue of the neighbors up there hiring other contractors to do their landscaping, which is causing erosion problems as well.
Totally agree. And so
which I think Erica needs to send an email to those neighbors that they need to put up erosion control around their own house.
So, right. And
Which,
so
Jamie, just so you know, okay, she asked me to contact one of the neighbors today, and I did. Okay, just so you know, Erica, I did. Okay, to say that they had dumped some stuff. Okay, and they needed to start putting erosion control up.
Right. So we noticed that, and we immediately notified Erica, who was then contacted you, Bob. So again, this is a discussion that we've had on site as well. Who's in control of the site, and so I understand that you guys are saying now that the lots are built, that you have that the individual lot owners are in control of that. But at the same time, you guys carry the SWIP for the entire site and carry the erosion control for the entire site. So, you got to work together, obviously. And again, so we've been asking for you guys to try to control as much of the erosion as possible within the areas that you can control.
And I mean, we keep on putting up more and more erosion control.
Right, which is great. So that's what we're continuing to ask. And so, I think
we are.
Which is great. And so we had generated this list. We were told that everything would be done by August 7th. We still have some open items. So, how do we work together to get the items completed? That's the objective.
But I think, Steve, wait, Jamie, but I think we are.
Please, you guys focus the questions to the board. Let's bring it all to the board.
Yeah. So, okay. To my mind, I think we are. Okay. Just the fact that everybody agrees that if there was grass there, 99% of this problem goes away. We've had this conversation on site. Okay. So what are we doing? We keep hydroseeding, we keep watering. Okay. And we
keep putting more erosion control in as we see we need it.
One of the things that is something I want to bring up to the board. When we design a subdivision, we designed it for all of the water from driveways to go into the street. That is the standard that we have to design
all
drainage.
All basins have to be built to take the drainage, all the water.
Right. Yet, if specifically 2 or 3 of these driveways could be allowed to go into the street, okay, this problem goes away as well. And we've spoken about that. And Erica was okay. She explained it, that there's a bylaw that doesn't allow it to do that. But, that's basically what we're doing. We're putting up wattles and directing the water, basically into the street. And that's what we're ultimately being asked to do.
But can I ask Bob, sorry, can I just interrupt you for a minute? My understanding, though, the erosion control issues are not necessarily from the driveway, they're from the non-established lawn areas.
No, it's really from the driveways. You would have to go out there and see it. It comes down the driveway. We put riprap, swales in some of these, to try to capture it. When we get a couple inches of rain in an hour, it's overwhelming. Okay, if there was grass there, then that would not occur.
So are you saying, would it be beneficial as a temporary measure to allow runoff from the driveways to go into the street to help erosion?
We're already doing that.
We're doing that with wattles, but for a permanent erosion problem, when we put the top coat on the road, we could direct the water at the bottom of specifically lot 3, 4, and lot 5, which I didn't build, into the street, and that keeps the water from running down the gutter, down the behind the
So
curb.
right now I see you've got hay bales that have been put up and straw wattles so that the runoff from the driveways goes straight into the road. So it will limit the erosion onto the lawn area.
And actually, there's a lot more than that. Those are pretty old pictures. Those are very old pictures.
If I may, Madam Chair, so if you go back to that picture, if you could, Erica, yeah. So you can see that piece of plywood or whatever that is to the left. Basically, what's happening in this location is that runoff is coming through the lawn area, and then it's getting in behind the sidewalk, and then it's racing down the back of sidewalk and washing out that way. So while there is water coming down the driveway, there's also, it's a combination of both driveway and through the lots. And so, our discussion, so our discussion out there is to add more of these, I'm going to call them check dams that are perpendicular to the curb, as often as possible as you go up this subdivision, to slow that water down. Because as you know, as soon as it picks up some velocity, even if it's hydroseeded, even in that location where it shows sparse grass, it's going to pick up a lot of sediment, and then it washes out into the not only across the driveways but into the streets as well. So those are the additional measures that we've been asking for, and as you can see, they have started to install those more often. But in my mind, there should be more. But I guess to Jamie's point, as they're installing it as they see the need as it arises. Which
I don't know if you can see that driveway. Okay, can you blow up that driveway, Erica? Okay, that's a wattle that goes all the way up the driveway. Okay,
yeah, I see that. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I just want to make sure. Okay, so this is not just a little bit of erosion control that we use in here. Okay, and it's working. I guess that's the whole point. It is working. Now you could argue and say, well, it hasn't rained. Okay, so that's great, and the grass is growing, and that's what we hope continues to happen. Okay, and if we have a washout, I just want to add this. Okay, and then I'll be quiet. Okay, Erica called me during that big flash flood. We met her, both Jamie and I met her during the rainstorm. Okay, within 20 minutes. Okay, and anytime there's been a breach, it's been cleaned up by 8-9 o'clock the next morning. So I think we've been good corporate citizens. Okay, in maintaining that.
As a homeowner, may I comment on the erosion?
Yeah, I think. Can we open it up to the neighbors?
Can you just please state your name and address, please?
Yep, this is Lori Coe, Lot 1 or 55 Moderator Way. So I just wanted to comment, there was a discussion about the erosion happening on the drive because of the driveway. But if you look at my lot, and Gavin was at my lot actually on Friday, and he saw that we've had to dig a trench to catch the water to stop the erosion from running onto our lawn and washing away all the seed, which is already done. So we've put down seed several times, and because of the erosion coming from 3 levels up, it continues to wash away all the seed that is put down and wash over all of our stonework and wash over about 3 inches of mud into my driveway every time we have a flash flood like that.
So Danielle, if I may.
May I add this? That's not in the right of way either. That's from lot 2 to lot 1, and lot 3 to lot 2, and lot 4 to lot 3, but not in the right of way.
No, but that's part of the. I guess the issue here is, you still have, as Nitch was mentioning, the permit is in your name. The permit covers for the site for the NIPDs. So stabilization needs to be looked at, as kind of a whole of making sure that's being complied with.
So if I can comment as well. This is Elizabeth Hutchins. I'm from lot 4 or 75 Moderator Way. So our lot actually abuts lot 2 and down to lot 1 to Lori's lot. Our leach field is kind of this flat area on the top of our lot. And we have so much runoff off our leach that we've had the Board of Health to our house now 2 or 3 times. He said that he would not have given us a CO given the condition of our leach right now because of how much erosion has occurred. But because they finished the work the day before he came out to inspect it, they gave us the CO, which is good. Granted, I'm glad that I got to move into my house, but now we're having issues with erosion on our leach, which is going down into lot 2 so we can't grow grass, and down into lot 1 so that Lori's having the issues that she. So this is, and then it eventually goes into that catch basin type, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that where your cursor is there. So it's obviously a systemic issue. They threw like 2 hay bales up there the other day in an attempt to try to stop the mitigate it. Now had to dig a ditch. I know lot 2 has also dug a ditch. It's absolutely ridiculous that because the contractor that did the land work did such a shoddy job, we have an incredible amount of from lot to lot to lot. And I don't think we should be held responsible for that, because it's going to be an insane amount of money for me if my leach ends up completely eroding away and it has to be redone.
Excuse me, can I comment, please? Bill Brookins has been up there twice at Elizabeth's request. He called me up and he said it's very, very minor. Okay, they need a little bit of grass there. You know, and he has an as-built plan stating exactly, okay, it was built to the plan, okay, and there's no breakout. There's a little area that is eroding. Okay, it's called home maintenance. The other thing, okay, it's
it's not home maintenance until things are in reasonable shape.
We disagree with you. Okay,
if there's that amount of erosion occurring, it's not reasonable shape yet.
Mark, we disagree. You'd have to see it. Okay, it's about 6 feet by about a foot. Okay, and about 4 inches deep.
I'm going to have to disagree with that, and I can actually bring pictures. I think I've sent pictures actually to Erica. I'm not sure if she has them at her.
Bill Brookins has pictures. Bill Brookins has pictures.
All right, so just to bring us back, you know, I think we have a letter from Niche that's noted that there's some additional erosion controls that haven't been installed. There still continues to potentially be issues that could potentially worsen if we do get some rains, which we're going to get soon. Just like to remind you, Bob, you do have the permit that covers the site for the NIPDs. I think potentially working with the homeowners on some of these additional erosion controls would be beneficial for everyone to try to make sure we can get this stabilized as soon as possible. Because once the area is stabilized, a lot of these issues will go away. But what we don't want to have happen is, it getting exacerbated and getting worse. I recognize that you're doing some additional measures. You're meeting with Niche and you're starting to do that. I would recommend actually what I think Steve had mentioned from Niche is maybe meeting out on site with Gavin and Erica and kind of going that list with the items that were kind of listed as no, and walking through that and seeing if we can come to an agreement on if you're able to do the additional stuff.
Okay, I totally agree. I think we should table this. Okay, come back at mid-September. Okay, by that time the grass will be growing. Okay, and we'll have something more to talk about because there is no erosion right now. Okay, every time there is a problem, we're doing exactly what you asked us to do, Danielle.
I would ask that we be a little bit more proactive than that and not wait. I mean, between now and September 15th, we could absolutely have some heavy rains.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And could we meet, to kind of go over the list between now and September 15th?
That's fine. Okay, I'm not suggesting I'm not going to do anything and hope it miraculously goes away. What I am saying is, even on lot 4, okay, we went all the way up the driveway. Okay, I didn't just go onto the right of way. Okay, I went up the driveway. Okay,
yeah.
Okay, and added erosion measures. I think that you would have to agree, okay, that the pictures that are out there now are a couple of weeks old. It looks completely different out there. Okay,
No, I
that's
and
what
I
I'm just
respect
suggesting.
that. That's fine. I just think it probably would be helpful, just seeing that there's still outstanding items from Niche's perspective, having them meet with you on site, with Erica, kind of going through the stuff. Maybe there's stuff you've already done, but it sounds like there's still potentially some additional stuff that could be done in preparation for, any heavy rainstorms that we could potentially, avoid any additional erosion.
Yep, that's
If that-
that's fine. Maybe we should meet, okay, next week, okay, and do another walkthrough. I have no issue with that. Okay, I've been there for every walkthrough.
Well, I'll leave it up to Niche and Erica.
That's fine.
You guys kinda-
Can any other homeowners please speak?
Yes.
Larry Cedrone, 84 Moderator Way. We're going back and forth on the thing. Let's get a little factual on the weather. We're 7 to 10 inches down in this area, the Bolton area from Stowe. So as far as grass growing, we're not even. I mean, they've hydroseeded 1,000 times, and that's wonderful. The grass, they have to water almost twice a day to get the grass, and whether they choose to or not. Anybody in that room, and I can speak for the grass is not going to really get growing until we get out of this dry period, which the 20-day forecast is exactly the same other than in the 70s and 80s. So our grass is not going to really sprout until maybe September or October. So that's a realistic, I mean, anyone who can't assess this summer shouldn't be doing any of this assessing. So that's realistic. So we've got to get, I mean, the grass is not growing fast enough.
I think the bigger issue here is, I think with a little communication, I believe in collaboration and cooperation. I believe that there are many people in the neighborhood that are happy to do that. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of great communication as to when things are going to be done, which might really help the situation as a whole. So if we had a timeline, if we knew when things were going to happen, I think a lot of the frustration that the neighborhood is feeling could be avoided.
All I'm asking is that, as far as they've done their job, but we have to give the grass a chance, and the weather's not going to give the grass a chance. So assessing the grass is not where it needs to be on August 12th, and it's not going to be where it needs to be. Look at the next 2-week forecast for Bolton.
No, and just so I can clarify, I guess my statement when I'm asking Niche and them to come out, the grass growing is not the only method for erosion and sediment control. There's actually multiple other different means and methods that could be looked at. So if it's determined, and this is where, we rely on kind of Niche being our eyes and ears in the field, if it's determined that, the hydroseeding is just not working, as you've mentioned, because it's not able to grow, or we're getting washouts. I mean, there's other methods that could be done. There could be jute mesh. I mean, it's not as ideal because it's more of a stabilizing blanket versus you're going to be seeing grass. But it is a way to stabilize the area that you're not getting that runoff that's kind of coming down. So I guess my whole statement was it may make sense to have Niche meet out there to go over there's more than I think just grass growing that needs to be addressed here. That's a big component of it, but having Niche meet out there on site, kind of going through this with Bob and Erica, and walking it. And if there's, an area where it just doesn't seem this one method is working, could there be another method that could be talked about, and maybe, that Bob might be interested or willing to try, and maybe sharing some of that with the owners would also potentially be helpful.
Yeah, this is Jason
instead of run
by Moderator Way. One thing I think might be useful is it's evident that the people of the neighborhood, even myself as a professional engineer, are not experts in erosion and things like that, such as Niches. So it may be beneficial for Niche to possibly meet with the homeowners and almost set realistic expectations and go through some of the issues that the homeowners are having. So that way we're not battling unrealistic. So the homeowners don't have unrealistic expectations of what should be done, and the contractor and doesn't have, compared to what his plans are. So if we are all educated on what's appropriate and what should be done and what shouldn't be done, I think a lot of the confusion may dissipate if we're all just kind of educated by the experts in the field.
Sure.
Isn't there a website that you have? Jason?
What was that, Bob? I didn't hear that.
Isn't there a website?
A website for what?
A website for what?
Website for what?
Okay, a chat room, whatever you call it.
I'm not going to go on. I'm not going to educate myself from the internet. Again, as a professional engineer, I take high regards into other professional engineers' opinions, and I would prefer to hear it from an expert in the field and not what I can find on Reddit or Google.
No, I appreciate that, and I think that's actually a beneficial comment. Erica, I don't know if that's something we can work out with Niche to do a site visit, just to walk with the residents as well, and kind of Niche can kind of go over what they're.
Well, can I ask a question? Okay, because I pay for that, so that's why I ask you. Okay, I mean, that's I'm already meeting with Niche. Okay, if there's a follow-up or a report, okay, he can email it out.
Yeah, I think what the residents were looking for is just an explanation, a little bit more of an in-depth explanation of.
No, I understand that. Okay, but okay. So are you telling me that and I'm asking this? Okay, let me rephrase that. That this is pertaining to the right of way, and not individual lots.
I think this is pertaining to the site and your NIPD's compliance.
Okay, but that's limited, not to everybody's yard. Okay, it's not. Okay, it's where it ends up.
I would say it where it ends up is in lot 1's basin, and when it's coming from lot 4, lot 3, lot 2, running onto lot 1 and eroding the front area of my yard to the point that my irrigation pipes are exposed because there's been so much erosion.
Okay, but I don't want to start being okay. Let me just say it, and then everybody can yell at me, and in that sense. Then lot 4 maybe should push some erosion control up, just like you called me for lot 5 today, Erica, to have her put some erosion control up. Okay, and lot 3 should do the same thing for the benefit of lot 2, and lot 2 for the benefit of lot 1.
And Bob, that goes back to when we were out at the site talking about this, that we've reiterated this so many times. You are our applicant, you're the developer, so you're a point of contact, you're in control of the site. So we're going to go to you, and we're looking to you to work with the homeowners to correct the erosion control issues. So if it starts upstream of the road right of way or the drainage basin, we've talked about this. We're hoping that you can work with the homeowners to correct the issues and help them figure out what needs to be done so that we don't continually have this sedimentation in the basins.
They need to plant grass. That's what they need to do.
But I guess the problem is we literally can't plant grass because we have so much water runoff. We have seeded back hill. So first of all, let me be clear that the contractor actually never seeded our back hill. We had to do that on our own. We have seeded the back hill on 3 separate occasions. I have fertilized, I have limed, I have done everything in my right mind to try and grow grass on that back hill. And there is very, very, very little vegetation growing. It's basically all rocks. The soil is just not appropriate for what we would expect to have some sort of vegetation grow. And that's the issue. So we need to have something done that's fairly substantial to be able to get some vegetation there. I'm not arguing that if we have vegetation, this maybe won't be as big of a deal, but right now, our entire leach field is a complete pool, which is also not good because we don't want sitting water on top of our leach field for extended periods of time. So This is not something that we signed up for. And had it been like this when we were trying to get our CO, we've heard from the Board of Health that wouldn't have happened. So I'm not really understanding, I guess, why one point in time proves stabilization and why we can argue that one point in time proves stabilization when now we have a period of what, 8 or 10 months that we've lived here and we've seen substantial erosion in, I mean, that's a short period of time, honestly, to see the erosion that we've seen.
Liz, it just needs some grass. And the erosion that you're talking about is minor at best. Okay. You know, you got to take some responsibility.
I agree with you. I would agree with you if she had dug up an area to put in a flower bed and that was causing erosion. But basic lawn installation and making sure that it grows is that's more on your shoulders than on theirs.
Mark, I think I think you should take a ride up there.
I think I would like you also to come up and look because you haven't actually been up here.
That's fine.
I have a couple of points of order here. Please direct your comments and questions to the chairman. And we do have got remote participation guidelines. And I just ask that if you have a comment that you'd like to make, please raise your hand and we'll call on you. It just helps keep the meeting go smoothly. So.
Okay.
And so Danielle,
Yes.
I would just like to bring to the attention to the board that there are a couple of chat comments that we haven't gotten to. So would you like me to read them?
Yes.
So the first comment's from Brianna Kiernan, and she says the basins fill up with water for days every time it rains, and the hydro seed is watered every 5 to 6 days, not daily. Many of us are working from home and monitoring this closely. And then she has a second comment that says, we have also dug our own trench on lot 2, number 57 Moderator Way, to help redirect water into the woods. This is unacceptable and keeps washing away our loam and seed as well. No ability to establish grass. Bob has told us multiple times that he will not do anything to help this situation.
This is on lot 2, right?
Between
Is
lots,
this lot 2?
to help the situation between
Correct.
lots 4 and
Correct.
1.
This is lot 2.
Okay. Lot 2 landscape their own house.
No, Bob, we landscaped the front. We have not done anything in the back.
Well, there you have it.
So we were waiting for this meeting to see where, you know, what direction we were going to go and what sort of help we were going to get for this, these erosion issues. We've done what we can to dig our own trench, similar to lot 4 and lot 1, to redirect the water, but it's still not, it's not enough. We're not able to grow grass in that area down the hill. You know, and I've been told multiple times from you, from Jamie, from others, that there's nothing that you will do, that this was the risk we took by purchasing this house on this lot.
Nobody ever said risk. Okay. Just so the board knows, okay, on lot 2, okay, to break the water, okay, from lot 3, we asked the homeowners, okay, if they wanted us to put wood chips there, which they did. Okay, some of them did. Where the wood chips are, there's very little erosion. Again, okay, I just need to have somebody understand that's not a perpetual cure. Okay, when you live on a hill, you're going to have to maintain that once in a while. If you start to get a channel, kick the wood chips around, okay, so that it fills in the channel. Okay.
Yeah, so I just have a comment about that. So we do have wood chips all along the hill there, and we have moved them around, and every time it rains, it's a river in our backyard, starting from lot 4, going all the way down into lot 1, and, you know, putting their driveway completely underwater and filling up the basin, you know, very high. So we have tried those things. You know, I've asked for advice from multiple people and have been told, you know, the questions put back on me saying, well, what do you think you should do? So really not getting a lot of help, guidance, or information. So we're doing our best to, you know, work with our neighbors and try to fix it, but it's just not something much bigger needs to be done to address this issue.
All right. So I think, I mean, I would think one of the best places to start here is, again, I'm going to go back to having that on-site meeting with Niche and the checklist that they have. It touches upon a bunch of different items that could be done that could help with all of these issues. I think it would make sense to meet out there to kind of go through that and to look at, these different areas where things are happening. And I would say, Bob, just to please remember, like Erica mentioned, the NIPTES is for the site. So we need to be looking at this as site compliance for your permit.
I just want to respond to that. Okay, the first meeting, that Steve attended, he was very clear that wasn't in his scope of work. Has he changed his mind then?
What do you mean by not in my scope of work?
Going on to people's lots. Okay, it was in the right of way.
I don't know about that, the exact wording, Bob, but I think we were looking at, the overall site. We were looking at, yes, erosion that was happening into the right of way. And so we were looking at the entire site. And I think I did say that we were looking at the entire site and how would you mitigate those issues on the site. I don't remember specifically saying that, that maybe I said.
I'm not trying to throw you under the bus. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus.
That's fine. Throw me under the bus.
No, I'm not trying to.
Yeah. So Madam Chair, I'm happy to have a meeting with Nitch, with Bob, Jamie, and Erica, and I believe conservation is appropriate. And I think just having that group initially, and then if there are some additional measures that homeowners are looking for, I would prefer that Erica be the point person. So if there is, in that way we're not mixing.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So if there's information that homeowners are looking for erosion control, I'm happy to provide that to Erica, and then she can send those links or whatever we have that we can give her. Yeah, it should go through Erica.
Everything should go through Erica. That is correct. Yes.
So I'm happy to share, and it's so there's a ton of information out there that we can share, and obviously we have experience with these types of erosion control issues, and it gets down to it just gets down to being aggressive up front with erosion control and using all different tools in the toolbox. So it's wattle, silt fence, jute mesh, hydroseed with tackifier, and things that work and things that don't work. Sometimes it's an experiment, which is what we're finding out here. But I think the effort just needs to be stepped up so that additional so that we're using more tools and not just hydroseed.
I agree.
One of the last, sorry if I may, just one of the last conversations that we had was that, that if Bob and Jamie needed to go onto lots to provide erosion control so that we wouldn't get sedimentation into the basins, and that's what needed to happen, and that they needed to work with the homeowners to provide that stabilization so that we wouldn't get sedimentation ultimately into these basins.
No question. Okay, that I agree with. Okay, when it affects the basins, okay, then we have to stop the erosion control. You're right.
So whether you need to go onto lot 2 or lot 3 or whatever it is on these lots,
wanted to fix the basins, yes,
so that it doesn't get into the basins. So we're still so that's it. So we could continue on, but so that's where.
So I think that's pretty clear. Yeah, thank you, Steve. I think that's pretty clear. So I think the next step is let's set up a meeting. Erica, if you want to kind of coordinate that to meet out on site and kind of go through this. And I would suggest sooner rather than later to be more proactive.
Yeah, I agree. And if you are available to come out as well, that I think that might be helpful.
Yeah, depending on the day, as long as it's not on a Tuesday, I may be able to meet out there as well. And we can actually have we can let the board members know if anyone else wants to come out as well.
Did you say on a Tuesday or any day other than a Tuesday? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Any other day, not on a Tuesday.
Okay.
Monday I go to my office.
Yeah. Okay. Wednesday's like my best day.
Madam Chair, just ask that maybe you attend. I don't want to get into any quorum issues with other board members, and I don't want to make it into a public hearing.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
That'd be my only caveat. And then, the smaller group as possible, the better. And so I'll talk to you, Erica, tomorrow when we figure out a time that makes sense.
Sounds good, Stephen.
And we can go from there.
All right, so let's go past what was the next item after the erosion control?
It was a request for bond release.
Okay, if we can bring that up.
I'm sorry. What's the reason for not having any of the other board members there?
If I may, I don't want to get into a situation where if you have 3 or 4, I don't know what a quorum is, 4, let's say, members, if they're there, then it becomes a public hearing, and then you might be violating open meeting law unless you post it as a meeting.
We've done that in the past, just posted as a meeting.
Yeah,
I was going to say, because we have met as a board for site visits at like Century Mill and stuff.
Yeah.
So Erica, how did you just post that?
We actually, we've viewed that slightly differently in the past. As long as there's no deliberation and it's for site observation only, we don't consider it a public meeting. If there will be deliberation, then I would have to go ahead and post it. So in this instance, if we were talking about, erosion control improvements and measures that could be taken, then I would say, yes, I would probably have to post it.
I don't know how the board feels about what they would like to do.
I think is to not drag it out too much longer. I think if we need to deliberate on site, and come up with some suggestions or requests, then posting it is probably, I mean, we should know, easily the 48 hours ahead of time to be able to post it. So I think that's probably the safer way to go. Just,
So Mark, you want to have a public meeting and post it?
I mean, I think that would be the safer way to go, so that if there's any discussion, in order to expedite getting anything fixed, I think that would be the more prudent approach.
I'm still on this meeting. Okay, can I call you back?
Yeah, I'm fine with that as well. I'm happy to come out and take a walk around and see you.
All right, I'm okay with that. All right, so we've got the bond shown down here. I think Fred went through this, right, Erica?
Actually, Niche Engineering went through it.
I'm sorry, Niche, sorry, yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Niche Engineering went through this.
Yeah, in general, we didn't have too many questions on it. Just the one highlight there for streetlights. It's already zeroed out, but we didn't observe a streetlight.
The one question I would just ask, just given the conversation that we've had in depth now for quite a bit, the loam and seed of is that for the ponds or is that for the site? What is that? That's 90% done.
I believe that's for the site. And then I'm just going to ask Gavin. This was already at 90% from the previous bond estimate. It had already been reduced, correct?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. So I believe that's for the site. Sorry, Fred.
That's all right. Can I speak to Angel? Or
sure.
Erica, can you go to the second sheet? Or third sheet and so forth? Okay, I'm just looking, and I haven't seen this till just now, but okay, so I don't know, I haven't seen it. So Dusham Dillis did this, right? Is what they're saying?
It looks like it.
Yes.
Yeah. It's up to you. I haven't seen it until tonight. I didn't know when was submitted. I understand what Steve and his company has looked at it. A lot of the work that is probably looking to be released is work that I inspected, I would assume. So I don't know if I should be looking at it.
Oh, reviewing it as well.
Correct.
Just a question, okay, you know, I mean, we've already paid Nietzsche to do it. Is it niche or niche? Okay,
Niche.
I must, niche,
Niche.
okay.
Niche.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep
No, that's fine.
mispronouncing it.
That's fine,
Yeah.
Bob. I won't be charging to look at it.
Okay. But this is a big bond that's out here for a little bit of work, so okay, we're really looking to reduce this.
I'm sorry, can you go up, Erica, just so I can go back to
the top?
Yeah.
I was just trying to look at all of. So what's the total bond being asked for?
That's at the bottom.
Sorry, yeah, no, I say that. I wanted to go to the top and look at more, and then
So they give the remaining per estimated amount, how much should be remaining, and just note that this doesn't include the 1.5 multiplier. So this is what the original bond amount was for. Then they reduced it. I think there has been one bond reduction since
Just
then.
one, that's right.
Yeah.
So I guess going up to the top, maybe I misunderstood it. Steve, when we were talking about the loam and seeding of the basins, you said it was already at 90%, but isn't there an additional amount being asked for that? Or am I misreading this?
That's a holdover from the last bond estimate. So they haven't changed that number from the last time it was requested, or I guess the first time.
So it wasn't, I guess it wasn't issued. So
so they
so
looks
they're
like
asking.
they reduced it by 90%, and so there's only 1,400 left.
That doesn't seem correct. I mean, at the time, none of the ponds were seeded, as far as the ponds go, and
Yeah.
nothing was seeded. At the last estimate, nothing was seeded, I don't believe.
So we were comparing it with the estimate. Erica sent us two estimates, the one before this one and this one, just to see where.
Yeah, I mean that was 8 months ago.
Yeah.
Right, but nothing was seeded then, correct?
I'm looking at the bond. I get very frustrated. I can't move it myself. I don't believe we asked any seed, Fred, the last time.
So maybe there's enough confusion.
Yeah, so that was, you're right, that was 0 because it says loam and seed. None of it was asked for.
Right.
So I guess my concern is it looks like we're asking for 90% to be released for this one item. That's it. That's the way I'm reading it. Am I reading
Yeah,
it correctly?
no, you're reading it correctly.
So I think that's the rest of the items seem reasonable. That's just the one given everything that we've just spent a good deal talking about.
May I offer this?
Yes.
Let's leave that just the way it is. Okay, the loam and seed. Okay, and that will get us the preponderance of what we were looking for.
Yeah, I think that would be that would be a good suggestion. I would be okay with.
Okay.
Does the board have any other additional questions or comments? I know it needs to be recalculated, so someone's going to have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, Fred, if you're willing to take a look at this, I would feel a little more comfortable.
Definitely would.
Okay.
And Madam Chair, if I can ask, I see the chat room, the window there, and if the residents have any questions on items that still need to be completed, if maybe they can send their request to Erica, and then she can just generate a list.
Yeah,
I
that's
see
fine.
things
And
about,
actually,
yeah. Sorry.
yeah, we do have 2 questions, one from Logan Finnegan. Can we get some clarification on mailboxes?
It's been my thought, okay, and I've been telling people this because I was told this, that the mail truck won't go up the road because the road is not accepted.
Is that?
I'm asking you guys. That's what I was told.
I think that's generally true. Yeah, they don't go on private roads like that.
I remember something about that. I'm not trying to mislead anybody, but that's my belief.
Okay. Before we kind of get to these addition, I guess, well, the other question was, can we get info? Sorry, the chat next moved. Can we get info on the timeline for the town to accept the road? Before we jump to that, let's just try to wrap up maybe this bond discussion. If it makes sense to have Fred review this, we're looking to continue this to the next hearing then? The bond reduction component of it?
Well, respectfully, can we just look through it and see if there's any major stumbling blocks here? Because, again, that's the purpose of having an engineer look at this, okay? And, okay, I mean, some of this is black and white. Okay, the curbing's in, okay, and things like that.
Are you suggesting holding everything except, or reducing everything except for the loam and seed?
Yes, sir.
Peter, I think you had mentioned a comment. I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
Well, I was just going to say, if Fred's willing to review, I'd feel a little more comfortable, given that the one thing we're kind of staring at here, 90% for loam and seed, and that's what we just talked about. So I just would feel a little more comfortable, and especially given what has happened with some bond reductions in the past, where we've maybe been a little too premature to reduce things, that we just make sure that we go through, and if there's any discrepancies, we can discuss them, and that may not be able to be done in a quick couple of minutes here. That's just my thought.
I agree.
Any other comments on the board?
Is there any particular reason? I mean, I can come back for another bond reduction. I don't know why we can't do line items. There's not that many. These bonds are very expensive.
They are, and it's very painful when we've over-released things in the past. So we've been bitten by several recent developments on that, so we're a little more cautious about it now than we have been in the past. So
can we just look at it, Mark? You can't hit if you don't swing, buddy.
No, and if we defer it and let the experts, let Fred take a look at it. I mean, he's done it quite a few times, and we trust his judgment on it. So, and there may be things that he looks at that Niche may not have noticed or may have a different interpretation on.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing to do for now.
So we'll table this because in all fairness to Fred, he's just seeing this for the first time, just being on the screen.
Yeah.
All right. I see some comments, I guess, in the chat room. One of the questions was, can we get info on timeline for town to accept the road? Bob, I don't know if you want to kind of talk about your schedule for that.
Our thought is, as I told Erica, we're planning to top coat the road in September and plant the trees in September. Okay, the street trees, and look for road acceptance whenever you guys will accept it. I'm assuming it won't be.
At the next town meeting?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a whole list of everything you need to do. And
yeah.
Usually the long pole is making sure that the top coat is on and goes through a winter.
Yeah. That's the big one.
But there's also all of the other, making sure the trees make it through the winter. I did notice it didn't look like they're on the bond list. It didn't look, there's some trees you need to put back out on 85. Didn't look like that had been done yet.
That's on the bond.
It's on the bond, but it hasn't. That'll be done in September as well.
Those were actually put up, but they're smaller than that Mark requested. I've been trying to meet him out there for a month.
Okay.
So basically, they'll get transplanted.
Okay. Yeah, but basically, to the residents, it's getting the top coat on is usually the big thing, and then probably over the winter, all of the final as-built will be done, and all of that and all that sort of work is done. And then in the spring, there's an inspection to make sure everything weathered the winter okay, and then it'll go to town meeting for acceptance. And I don't think we've ever turned down one that came through with recommendation, with approval recommendation. So it's kind of, so you're looking at probably next spring. As far as the mailboxes, I mean, I talked to the postmaster, whether you just put in, a line of individual mailboxes that then you can move to your individual properties when the road is accepted, or whether you put in a community box. I'm not sure, aesthetically the community box may look better, but long term, if you're going to have individual boxes at your houses, then you may want to just you may not want to incur the cost of the community box. I'm not sure who pays for that. So
and I think that kind of, Mark, gets to one of the next questions by Jeff Garcia is, and he had noted he wasn't sure if there's a formal way to ask these questions, but one of them was, how could we petition for the post office to deliver mail to our street? As the first house sold for the street, I was informed after the street is accepted, we could get post boxes and mail delivered. I'm not sure that that's under our purview. That's
I would go on and talk to the postmaster. I mean, they're usually pretty good about that. So unless the inspector and postmaster general has put a moratorium on that, they should be able to work out something with you.
Yeah, I would say that's not really under our purview, so I would definitely reach out to them.
Yeah, it's definitely not something we have any control over. So,
and then the next question is, I'm very interested in the 40+ trees per plan that need to be planted along both sides of the road. Specifically, what type of tree? Who chooses what type of shade tree? I've seen other developments with really nice white blooming shade trees and would love for our development to look as good. Plans only specifically say deciduous for the tree type, but there are several dozen types of trees in that family. Erica, on the plan, did we not have a plant list? I don't know what was called out. It was generic.
It was very vague.
So what I've asked of Mark Case, Bolton's tree warden, he's going to at some point be meeting with Bob out at site, and they're going to finalize the street trees. Obviously, the trees along the frontage are under Mark's purview, but he said that he would, he would be happy to also discuss with Bob the street trees, the types of species that he recommends, and they can also sort of tweak the locations to make sure that the locations are beneficial for the trees. So.
Okay. The next question is from Larry. Says, we do not have any streetlights. The post office will work with us on a community mailbox. Can we have clarification when the street will be paved? We've just discussed that. It will be top potentially in September with final road acceptance next spring, potentially. What is the status of the storm drains? As seen, they are not up to standard.
No, the rims are going to get raised, and we're going to put on the top coat in September.
In September. Yeah, typically they're not raised until the top coat's getting ready to be installed. From Caroline Costa, who pays for the community mailbox if we can't get our own by our driveway? Again, I don't think that that's a question we can answer. That needs to be vented with the post office. Who is responsible for snow removal? Does the town take over, or is this the developer responsible? My understanding is until the road is accepted, it's under the Bob, is it you, or is it the residents that are
No,
doing?
it's me. That's me.
It's you until the road is accepted.
Right.
Another question from Elizabeth Hutchins. Are the retention ponds intended to have sitting water at all times? They have been pumped dry, so I'm confused what their natural state is supposed to be.
Pond 3 had been pumped dry to set the wick.
Sorry, you broke up a little bit there, Bob. What was that?
Pond 3 has been pumped dry to set the wick in the middle of it.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. So I think the intent is that these are not supposed to be wet ponds, though, right? These are supposed to, they fill up, they can be wet for a couple of days, up to 72 hours or so, as it takes time for the water to infiltrate. But eventually they're supposed to be dry ponds. And obviously, except for during rainstorms. All right, have we touched, are we good with all the main items that we talked about? Or are there other additional comments or questions? Hearing none, so we'll, Fred, you'll review the bond for the next hearing. We'll set up a meeting to be on site to review the erosion sediment controls with Niche. And we'll go from there.
Thank you very much. Thank the residents. Thank the board.
All right, thank you.
Good night.
When is the next, Danielle?
Yeah.
When will the next meeting be?
Oh, good question.
Is it the 26th? Next 2 weeks?
No, we
only
have September. So in July and August, in our summertime, we only do one meeting a month due to summer schedule. So September 9th, Erica, correct me if I'm wrong, our next meeting.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right. Motion to adjourn meeting.
So move.
Second.
All right.
Roll
Do I-
call.
Aye.
I know it's.
Yeah.
I'll just do it just to be formal. I'm sorry. Danielle Spicer.
Aye.
Mark Sprague.
Aye.
James Barr.
Aye.
And Peter Driscoll.
Gotta think about it now. Aye.
And Eric Nyland, if you're still on the call.
It looks like he dropped.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Take care.